What's up, guys, and welcome to Simply Minis. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to put on a JTI Corso skid / cradle. This allows you to have the peg mount incorporated into the cradle and skid, and therefore not tear your foot peg bolts out, which is common on the KLX110. If you really start sending it, the 4 peg bolts right there, they just strip out of the bottom of the holes on the case there. On this particular bike, I have a BBR Super Comp on it. To get to the rear bolts of the JTI Corso, I have to compress it. This is how I do it. The Corso has to come off to change the oil because the filter is right there and it gets covered up by the Corso. So a lot of people wonder how intense this is to change your oil. Most of the time, I change my oil pretty much every 2 times I ride the bike / race it. Every second time, I change the filter just because I have the JTI Corso on there, so it's a little bit more involved to take the skid plate off and the filter, but this is the reality of it so you guys can see. This is going to be a little bit challenging to videotape, but I'm going to try to set it up so you guys can see while I'm actually doing it. Now, what you'll need for this is a 7/8 wrench, a 10mm wrench, a 3/8 ratchet, 1/4 inch ratchet. I use the 1/4 inch to drive all the 10mm head bolts, and then I use the 3/8 to drive the 13mm that hold the peg mount on. These 4 bolts, your 13mm head bolts, are what are going to come through here and bolt up to the bottom of the cases right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then those 2 bolts for the rear are going to bolt in these holes right here. That would be those 2. The other 2 bolts are very simple, like your traditional skid plate. They'll go in the front here, and then there's one on the other side. Same thing. Not worth going over there to show. So I'm gonna set up this camera and get the best view I can for you guys. Okay, so it's got 4 indents in it, which line up exactly with the peg mount bosses. So you'll know when it's in there. It's pretty easy. That's it. I think it's easiest to install some peg bolts first to hold her in place. I leave these pretty loose because the skid bolts in the front up on the head here are sometimes challenging to get in if you have any of this real tight or even snug. Just get them in there, run them up. Take your bigger 7/8 head bolt. That's going to come right in the back here. You guys can see how simple this is, so it's nothing to be afraid of if you're worried about having to take it off for oil changes. You know 100% that your peg mount bolts aren't going to tear out. Now this bolt is going to go right here in the front. Maybe who's taking off the skid plate, you'll know how to do this part. In case you haven't, I'll show it.
So the other side's the same, no need to show that. It's also a little bit more challenging to get to with the wrench, so I won't bore you guys with that. So first I start with the peg bolts to get it all nice and flush on the bottom of the motor. I don't go crazy on them. I do what I'd call like a 2-finger tight, and then the rear bolts will be lined up as well. And for the rear bolts, you gotta get your 7/8 wrench out. And on mine, on bikes with stock swing arms, it's a little bit easier because the wrench fits better. But not bad with the swing arm compressed. Makes that process much easier. You try and fight this with a super comp without it compressed, it's pretty much near impossible. I don't torque them. If that's what you like to do, then you can do that. I kind of just feel them out to what I like to put them at. Never had a problem that way. Don't expect to have one. Then you can go back down to the bottom. You can tighten this up. My carpet slipped there a little bit. It's all right. And then last but not least, I tighten down these at the end.
And that right there is how to install your JTI Corso in less than 10 minutes. Very easy. Joe Toke makes a great product. Hope you guys purchase one. You can get the JTI brake pedal along with it, which is really slick too. This pedal only works with the JTI Corso, I believe. But real nice design, works really well. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tune in for my next tutorial. And like and subscribe. Thanks.